Hello everyone, I'm Anastasia, I'm a business analyst. I'm really passionate about business strategies in Germany and another country, and today I'm happy to be here and talk with Dr. Vivek. We are going to talk about US election, and please could you tell us about what do you think about US election, how is your point of view?
Thank you, Anastasia, for having me. The US elections is at a very critical time period because we have the upcoming elections in November. We have the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and now who's representing the Democratic Party? We have Joe Biden, who's the current president, who's now extending his presidency for the next 4 years. On the other side, the Republican Party, we have Donald Trump, who's representing for this upcoming elections. Now, Donald Trump was there in the previous tenure as well, till from 2016 to 2020 he was there representing. And then Joe Biden takes power, and now we have once again Donald Trump, who has another one extension of 4 years where he's representing. Now, in the Republican Party, Donald Trump did have quite a lot of potential candidates who were there in representing from the Republican Party side. Vivek Ramaswamy was one of the potential candidates who was there, and Nikki Haley was also one more potential candidate who was there, but at some point of time everybody gave support to Donald Trump or withdrew from the race, and thereby we have the two candidates who are now representing at the moment for the election.
Yeah, really interesting. Thank you for your answer. And yesterday we know it was a debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and I really want to know your opinion. How do you see this debate, and what is the result and effect for people, for democracy, and for other parties?
It was a very expected debate, because usually what happens whenever the US elections are there, we have these debates which happen down with a very lot of but then since last election debates onwards, it became more, especially when Donald Trump, especially after the Obama period which was there, it became more personalized. When Hillary Clinton was there and Donald Trump was there, it became more personal attacks started coming down. And especially, and then even the previous time when it was there, Joe Biden and Donald Trump was there, it was once again. But yesterday's debate, which was the first debate which was organized, we have many things to look into this particular debate, because Joe Biden could not really be as aggressive and strong against Donald Trump, and in fact Donald Trump was more mellowed down when he was talking. And Joe Biden, obviously he did mention down after the morning, after the debate, in fact when he was there at one of the speeches yesterday, he did mention down that I'm still not that young man, but then I still know what's the difference between good and bad, and I still can take decisions representing people. Now, there were quite a lot of criticisms that came inside in the media, stating that they both had spoken on certain facts which were still not verified. However, Donald Trump had a easy stroll in the park in the debate, and it seemed in many moments where Joe Biden was frozen up. He was repeating the same words again and again. Now, this really painted down a picture where most of the Democrats and the sponsors for the Democratic parties, they really have had lost their trust Joe Biden. Now and for the Republican Party, Donald Trump has now shown across that it's now going to be a one-sided election if this continues.
It looks like a fail of Joe Biden. Yeah, it's very interesting. And could you please tell me about what do you see the future of USA, and how does this situation affect on European Union?
When we see this, the elections are bound to be there now. What is it for the European Union? Let us put it this way. If Donald Trump comes to power, he is clearly mentioning down that he is not happy with the European Union in many contexts which is there. The first context which is coming inside is trade protectionism, which is down there, and especially he wants the European Union to work upon on certain areas of trade policies, subsidies and parts of it. This was something which even in his previous tenure he did emphasize on. The second factor that Donald Trump is really emphasizing is he wants the European Union to work with the NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty organizations. Now with the NATO he wants more expenditures which needs to, especially military budgets which should be there from the European Union, which he expects down. Though it has been justified, he's been mentioning down that the US is giving down the protection and the safety and the security for the NATO, but then he wants the EU also to contribute quite a lot of money. This is one of the factors. The third factor is that he is looking forward for more countries to walk out of the European Union and move out of the European Union and creating down much more of bilateral trade agreements. And these are certain things wherein even in his last tenure he put down to Poland, asking them, stating that he wanted Poland to get out of the NATO alliance and then to form across, similar to what had happened with the UK. Now these are certain areas we can see this that it's bound to impact on the EU's relationship with US, because it has to be known that after the Second World War, the European Union had been the closest partner for the US in terms of global trade. And now with Donald Trump's new political and economical ideas or policies which are coming inside, this is definitely bound to have certain impacts on the relationship which is down there if he comes inside. If Joe Biden comes inside, there is another challenge which is bound to be there. The challenge if Joe Biden continues forward is that the existing wars are there, because the Ukraine-Russia war is still at stalemate. Now at some point of time, if this continues without a progress, now there is going to be more of a financial investments which the European Union is going to incur, and the same way the US will also be incurring. Now at some point of time it needs to come to a standstill, because how many years will the US be funding, how many years will the European Union be funding? Now there has to be some kind of a movement which has to happen. So these things are certain areas where the question mark arises.
Look like both way affect European Union in a high way. What do you think with strategy European Union should prefer to stay in a successful way and it would be a good win-win strategy, or stay again or stay away from?
The European Union has not much to share about this, because the European Union's ideas is that they want to have the Democrats in power, or they want to have Joe Biden in power, or even if the Republicans are there into power, they might expect anybody else to come into power, because they already had a bad, sore relationship when Donald Trump was there. However, where can this impact with if Donald Trump comes to power is that the European Union would be forced to rework their strategies, and thereby they would be forced to once again realign themselves in a manner how to handle with the US presidency, which is if it happens down. So
I have a last question about what do you think about expectation after US election is finished? What do you think how it will go further?
The expectations of the American voters are much entirely different, because the expectations of the American voters are that I did meet quite a lot of young population. The younger population who are studying down, the students who were there. Now what they stated me is they find the educational loans, because like in the US, one of the biggest challenges is that they spend a lot of money, especially when it comes to the universities, and even for a graduation program it's very unaffordable, and thereby when they take the banks and the interest and everything, the interests are extremely higher as compared to the jobs that they find, and thereby they are not able to even repay the fee. And at some point of time I did notice that an average American citizen is not able to afford down his own cost of living when it comes to education. This is one of the challenges. The second challenge which I didn't meet and people shared me was residences and house availabilities, which is down there. People did mention that the cost of living is so expensive. Affording houses is very expensive. People are not able to afford. The rents are going very high. And these are certain areas where people are really been badly affected. And now I need to correlate this with the inflation, rising inflation. The Fed has been finding it so difficult in the last 2 years to bring down the skyrocketed inflation which has happened, and they did increase the interest rates to a very high percentage of 5.25 to 5.50. But even then they are struggling down with the inflation not coming down, though they are almost reaching down on the positive scale. Their target is 2%. However, on one thing is that now the higher interest rates has affected the industries a lot, and there is a lot of electric vehicles and many other companies which are going bankrupt because of the high interest rates and bad impacts on the industries. And these are certain outcomes which is from the industries are affected, people are affected. Though it has also got to be mentioned down that the American economy has been performing on a whole macro level. However, people's growth, especially what we call this as a phase of, we can mention down as stagflation, is extremely a challenging part for people.
Thank you all of us to watching. We are going to see you next time.